Welcome back to the lab. We're carrying on with this 300ZX. It has been here for an eternity. Al and Woody actually, from the skid factory, they had a project going on with the 300ZX. They put a RB, let's start an internet fight. I'm going to call it an RB30 with an RB25 DET head on it. They put one of those with twin turbos into the front of a 300ZX about the same time that we started this project, perhaps, or thereabouts. Theirs was going ages ago. That's done and dusted, and Al's retired from the skid factory and Woody's carrying on. Meanwhile, my project's still bloody sitting here due to stuff and things and delays, but there's progress, if you could call it that. It's more in pieces now than what it was before, but you've seen that in the previous video. So we had all this intake plenum off so that we could pressure test the cooling system, and basically there were 3 hoses on that, the only 3 hoses that I hadn't replaced. Looked good, felt good, were perished and cracked inside. As soon as you put any pressure in them, it all fell out. So that's sorted, we've fixed that. The next issue being these R35 GTR coil packs in here. Heaps of power, good, yay. You can't take them out without taking the inlet manifold off, boo. If you're building a fresh setup with a new ECU, a new crank trigger and cam trigger and all that sort of carry on, you're going to need to set your spark timing, and you can't do that very easily. Traditionally, I use, that plus take coil out, stick that on the spark plug, stick the coil on the end of there, put your timing light onto this. Perfect. No issues there. That'll work great. You can set your spark timing. Not so much when you can't take the coil off without taking the inlet manifold off, because that means a lot of work. Like, you can actually, there's enough lead there that you can get that coil set aside and put the plenum back on and do all that. It's a big rigmarole. Normally from the factory somewhere, I think it's around the ignition pack, igniter pack, whatever you want to call it, there's normally a earth wire hanging out the side there somewhere, and you can put your timing light on that and set your spark timing from that. That can be slightly incorrect. It's probably close enough. As long as you know where your base timing is for idle and it's in the ballpark, and then you get the car tuned from there, it really doesn't matter what the actual mark is on the pulley. It doesn't matter where you think you've set it, it just needs to be set in the optimal spot, if that makes any sense. You no longer care. As long as it idles nicely and then everything else goes good, it makes lots of power and it doesn't detonate or anything like that, then it doesn't really matter where it is exactly. So I want to set it as best as practical so I know where we are at base timing, getting base timing correct. So took all this apart and put an earth lead on it because it didn't have one there. Whether they had it somewhere else originally in the wiring specialties harness or not, I don't know. It doesn't matter because we chopped it all up and changed it, or the guy behind the camera here did. Actually, I did it. You guys didn't. There was no we, it was just me. So I have put an earth lead on there. Now, how do we know that that works before we put the intake plenum back on and find it doesn't work, and then we have to go backtracking and take the inlet plenum off again to get in there to sort something else out? My alternative plan was to do a bit of a Y in this harness, so that I could take any one of these millions of these plugs that I've got lying around, have that hanging out the side of the engine so you can tuck it away somewhere out of the way, and just bang another coil on there with a spark plug and put your ignition, your timing light around here, and then you can set your timing. That was plan A. And then I thought about plan B, this one here. This would be much better. So how do we test that and make sure that goes? Well, we go into our Link ECU software, which has gone to sleep while I've been yabbering. I'm not going to go through all the trouble of opening up our come on, wake up. Is it still attached? It's still attached, it's still online. We go into the ignition test and we turn ignition number 1 test on like that. And then we come back here and we watch we don't hook our microphone lead around the wing mirror there. that'd be a disaster, wouldn't it? In theory, as long as that still actually is attached. Oh, it is. Look at that. Can you see that? Way. Oh, sorry if anyone's just had a bit of a fit. Is that better? Doesn't really show up on the camera at all. I can see that in person. That is working. So yay. Now we can progress forward. I'll get a helper and we'll put this massive behemoth of a intake plenum back on there so I don't hurt my back. Things are all out of fitness because I haven't done so much in so long. We'll get that back on there. At that point, basically, it's time to put some coolant in here and we can fire this thing up and set the timing, get that right. We've got onboard lambdas on our, there's a plug for one of them there, and our G5 Voodoo ECU, and we can check our mixtures on here, make sure we're not wildly rich, and see if we can get number 6 to join in with the party, because it didn't before. Previous video talked about compressions. You can look that up. It's on a pad written down somewhere. I don't know where the piece of paper is. We were like 120, 130, something like that on 1 through to 4, and 5 and 6 were 90 and 80. Pretty bad. We want to see if that comes back up when we get this thing running, which hopefully should happen in a few seconds for you, in an hour or two for me. All right, loud noises. That works. Yeah, you can see that, and then, oh, it's really hard to see, but down there I had to put a mark on the pulley because those ATI pulleys are absolute shit when you're trying to set the timing, because you can't see the marks. But that's all done and dusted. Boom, boom, boom. I have to turn this off in a second. It's making far too much noise and it's giving me a headache. Wakey wakey. Somewhere here. If we go to ECU status, oh, we're there already. Look at the lambda values. They are bang on. That's the best that I've ever seen a 300ZX run without doing any bank-to-bank mixture changes. So clearly all the stuff and things that I did in there with the cam timing, oh, I'm sick of this. Should we turn it off? Has it got a check light on the... Oh, it's not even a check light going, hey? That's pretty good. Oh look, there you go. It thinks it's on high beam. Oh no, it thinks there's an indicator going. That's right, we need to fix that. That's not plugged in, so don't worry about that. Reading nothing. It definitely has oil pressure. Tired of that. Gonna disconnect the battery in a second. Go inside for the day. I've had enough. Good. Okay, it's running on 6. Very clearly. Either that or the other two are so low on compression that they're not firing and you don't hear. That's not a thing. It is running on 6 cylinders now, so that's good. I do have to pull all that back apart again and do a compression test later on, but we have been up to temperature, oil pressure and all that sort of stuff. Oh look, it's going wheeze because of stuff and things. That's fine, I don't care about that. That radiator cap's actually junk, it doesn't seal. That's pretty common for aftermarket radiator caps to not seal on your radiator. You've got to watch that you can actually start the thing from cold, get it up to temperature, and it has got pressure in the cooling system, because I've seen it so many times they just don't seal. And you're running around with no pressure in your cooling system, which will make it better. It won't be as easy to get a leak, but you need that pressure in the cooling system to stop it cavitating in the pump and all sorts of other stuff and things. All the experts will comment in the comment section, that's fine. Fill your boots. Had to adjust that there plate there. Had to do a bit of fiddling with that to get the trigger sync bang on, because we had the sync tooth operating basically too close to one of the teeth on the crank wheel, and it can flick from one side of it to the other, and then it screws everything up. So you've got to make sure you've got it right in the middle between two of the other teeth. So that's taken care of, done that. Condensation's all gone. No smoke. With some funny noises from the cam belt to start with. That's gone. Must have been something just touching somewhere. I need to look and make sure there are going to be no problems with that going forward. But everything appears to go yay. Short and sweet. So that's done. Going inside shortly. This very expensive shelf for storing plastic covers for other cars and carbon fibre and all that. Probably will do chrome. I was going to check it today and make sure everything's kosher and won't have any issues running it. Probably I'd need to change that brake fluid. Been too busy with that, so I'll do it tomorrow, but more than likely going to enter chrome, just do a couple of the grip sessions and the roll racing, which is on the Saturday, just it's the same as what has been at Hampton Downs, but on the Sunday it is on the international track, so it's view, long, straight, flat. Don't know if that's going to help us. Some of those monsters are just going to kick our butt anyway, but we might be able to give them a bit of a fright, and certainly if they make a mistake, miss a gear or something, then we should be alright. That should be enough, should get them, but that's not to say I won't miss a gear at the same time. Thanks for watching. Right, cheers, bye.